Are you not mentally exhausted from streaming for 5 to 6 hours most days for years? Well, it's like any other job. You get exhausted sometimes. You try to take a break. I'm kind of there now, to be honest. Maybe you do so much talking. Yeah, but that's the job, I think. I talk just as much as I would if I worked retail. Wouldn't wish retail on my worst enemy. Really? You probably wouldn't wish retail on your worst enemy because there's so many worse things you could give them. Try retail in America, Tio? Yeah, I imagine it's bad there. I imagine you get more Karens. I think people expect more from retail workers in the US. Yeah, I think I had a very good, in terms of retail jobs, I had a good one. I worked at Elgiganten. And when I worked there, the overall public perception, I don't know how it is now, but of that store was customer service. And we gave people that for the most part. So we were taught very heavily to always make the customer happy. And that would mean if they come in and say, hey, this TV is $100 cheaper over there, then we'd say, okay, yeah, we'll pull off 100 and I'll also throw in this cable for you. And so people were often very happy. And because we got the freedom to, as long as we make profit, you could check how much something we're selling is going to make. As long as we make some sort of profit, we got to do whatever we want, any kind of package deal with things in order to sell more. And like, it was a lot of fun that way. And I think customers really appreciated it. It wasn't this like, I don't think I'd enjoy it nearly as much if people came in and said, hey, I want to have this TV. And I said, okay, do you want also this TV subscription? It costs this much. And they go, no. And I go, okay. Are you sure? And they go, yep. You know, instead, they'd say, hey, I want this TV. And I'd go, okay, do you have this, this, and this? And they go, no. And I said, what about this? Like, do you have a speaker? And he's like, yeah, but I've thought about it, but I don't want to do that today. And then I go, well, let's have a look, because maybe I could do something to make you happy. Then we go look at it, and he says, yeah, this speaker's good, but it's $400, and I'm already spending this much on the TV. And then I say, well, I'll throw in this cable and this cable for you, which saves you $100. And if you're going to buy it anyway in a few months, you may as well do that now. Or have you been thinking about like, do you have a TV subscription? This is back then, you know, everyone did. Not everyone, but a lot of people. And they'd go, yes. And I'd say, well, let me have a look at that for you. If you're planning on keeping it, then I could simply give you an extension of a year and maybe I could do something for you. Because when I do that, I get more profit on the whole sale, right? So I'll say if I do that, blah, 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 then I could pull off another $30 on your speaker system. Basically, we actually got to be salesmen. And the store was completely fine with it because that's just what they do. That's Elgiganten. Even today, if you want to buy something, the salesman there, yes, they'll upsell you, but also like you can save so much money. So like in terms of retail, I think I was lucky enough to work at a store where it was actually really fun because you got to be creative and you got to actually learn how it is to sell. You make commission. Yeah, on certain things. I was number 1 to 2 for a couple of months in Sweden across all stores for selling an electricity subscription. They had this electricity thing. Elgiganten did like a combination with this basically like what company you gives you your electricity. I don't know what that's called. And they did a deal. It was called like Sverige El or something. Where if you as a customer switched to them in store and said, yeah, I'll take my electricity from them. Which is basically, it'll be like competitive prices. It's the same thing. It's just they get it instead. And there was like a testing period of 30, like there wasn't anything that you have to stick with it. Just like if you switch to them, then you get $50 deducted from, you get $50 in store credit. And they came with that. We did that, lol. It was such a good deal. And that's what I realized. We had that for a few months and we'd have certain things like that, like TV subscriptions and that and a few other things that we could make commission on. So that was one of those. I think I got like $5 or something in commission. It was just something to kind of boost like the idea of it. And I remember my boss came one day and he was like, Tio, I think like you're not doing any of these. How come? And I was like, I don't know. It seems kind of like meh. And he was like, you know, like, and he explained it to me and it clicked for me. And I was like, holy shit, this is just like, I mean, why not? Like, who the fuck, if you have electricity, why not just switch to them? It's the same price. If you don't like, you could switch back and you get 50 in credit, in like store credit. This makes total sense. And so then I started just with every customer, no matter what they were buying, I would be like, hey man, you could have this for free, you know? Like, someone would come in and they'd be like, hey, where are the HDMI cables? And I'd be like, oh, here, I'll come show you. Here you go. Let me go type that in for you. It'll go faster at the cashier. So they come with me and I'm typing it in for them. And I'm like, so this is 20, you know, like, yeah, you get this for free. And they were like, yeah, how come? I was like, genuinely really good deal. Like, and I'd just tell them it. Like, I'd be like, yeah, like, just, if I switched you to this, here it is. I'm going to have a pamphlet. Switch you to this. It'll take me about 5 minutes. You get $50 in store credit. So you can buy something else if you want, or just save that. And they're like, oh yeah, what's the catch? And I'm like, no catch. Like, you can genuinely do this. And then in a month, if you don't like it, you could like switch back. And they're like, oh, okay. And everyone did it. I was so on top of myself. And this was like the proudest, I think this is looking back, the thing I was most proud of that I did at that job. I was so fucking good at selling that electricity to everyone because I was just like, whatever it was, I'd always upsell by using that as well. Like I would manage to upsell to other things by saying like, well, it costs 100 more, but you get it for 50 more if you just switch electricity, you know? And there was even during Christmas. Christmas was always insane. The day, Christmas Day, because we celebrate Christmas Eve. We did it to get a PS5 controller. Yeah, and it was a good deal, right, Katie? Like, it's just perfect. Christmas was always crazy, so you'd come in at like 6 in the morning or something, 7 in the morning, on Christmas Day, and you'd be there all day for 12 hours working. And they did a contest, so you got this like speaker called like the JBL Pulse or something. Yeah, it's called the Pulse. I still have it today. And I think I sold 11 electricity subscriptions on that one day. And I tied with a coworker. And then I think I did 7 the next day and managed to win. I won by 2 or something on that day. So I got the speaker. No, I loved it, man. Part of me really, really misses that being a salesman. Doing stuff like that made me feel so good, man. So I while it was stressful and it was a lot of work, yeah, working retail was so much fucking fun, man. I'm such a competitive person. So, yeah, that's my proudest, being like, they had a top list for Sweden, and I was like first or second for a few months when I was really going at it. And I worked half-time. I was a 50% employee. So the fact that I'm up there above all these 100%ers and stuff, or 80% is really 100 in retail, that was like, I was so fucking proud of that, man. It's quite clear you enjoy selling, watching your ads movies. Yeah. But that hits a little bit of a different part of me. I think that hits like, maybe not. It hits my like creative part of me, trying to be creative and fun with something, selling something to make it acceptable as an ad. Whereas I think retail, I don't think I get that these days. That feeling of like just straight up selling something to someone. The feeling of someone coming in and saying, hey, I want this TV, and saying, sure, can I show you a couple of other ones, and show them some and actually fucking convince them that like it's a worthy purchase and get them to spend $200 more for something that like, and I wouldn't scam them. I'd show them genuinely better products and be like, this is probably better for you, and like actually sell them that and like manage to get them to get a speaker and stuff. That was such a good feeling. It was fun. I kind of missed that. Upselling is super fun, to be honest. We have 200 quid cocktails that are super hard to convince people to buy until they're wasted. I feel like in the US, you probably have to scam a bit for the tip situation. Tips? You tip retail? No clue. Okay, man. I hate your tipping culture, man. It started leaching into Sweden, and like, it doesn't make any sense here because we have really good wages. I think in Sweden it's nice to tip if someone's been like overly amazing, and it's like, yeah, fuck it, I'll give them a tip. It's like a thank you for such great service. But it's like the feeling of like this, like the way that it's like looked down upon if you don't, because they need it for their wage. That's such a fucked up system, man. It's so weird. I was in Canada in the airport. I've said this before. I was in the airport and I got a beer, and the waitress made me feel so bad for not tipping. And I didn't even know, for my whole trip, I was there for 4 days, I didn't know it was a tipping. I thought that was just USA. I didn't even know Canada had that. So it was just an honest, like, I'd just been going to the arena for Siege and to the hotel back and forth, and I think at the hotel they're probably used to it, so that I hadn't been shamed there. And at the fucking airport, she shamed me when I bought a beer. She was like, "You're not gonna tip?" And she made me feel so bad, and then waited, and I was like, "Oh, well, and then she wanted me to do it after, and I was like, "Well, I have no cash." "I promise you, we want good wages. It's most big businesses that lobbies against increasing wages." Yeah, I know. I know that I'm preaching to the choir as well. I think that there's probably like 2 people watching who love tipping, and the rest of you are all like, "Yeah, it makes way more sense to do it that." Like, I get that a lot of you just don't want it, but it's just normalized. Oh yeah, don't get me wrong. The idea of tipping is nice. If I go to a restaurant and I feel they've been really nice, to leave them a tip as a thank you is lovely. They've had a stressful day and say, "Hey, here's $10 just as a thank you." That to me is fine. This idea of doing a percentage and stuff, and like there being shame around something that's presented as a voluntary thing, yet is that part is just that's so backwards to me. To be honest, it doesn't feel voluntary in us. No, but that's what I mean. It's presented as something that's voluntary, but if you don't do it, then you're shamed. So it's not really voluntary. So why not just give it to them in wage and up the prices that amount? It's I don't think it'll ever change though. But I think a lot of people in Sweden likes to try to take stuff from NA. One of those things is tipping. And I think a lot of people in Sweden are like, "Fucking no, stop it, you know?"